Greetings. Okay, so where do I start? Okay, so this is just going to be a quick run over of the two different games that I'm working on. One is Patrolling and what's called Patrolling W.T.H. There, one is a larger game. The other one is a smaller version of the game that's going to be released. Well, it's currently in internal testing on the Android Play Store. The other one is actually the full game. So let's give you a quick rundown of the full game first, and then I'll jump into the differences of the second game, which is basically a smaller version for the public called Patrolling W.T.H. So the main game, which is called just simply Patrolling, is a story-based driven game, fully invested. There's still a few bugs and things I need to work out, but it has a whole story mode. It tells you, explains to you how to move the character, has a whole quest and everything. I'm pretty driven out, and it's a much slower paced game compared to the main game itself. Sorry, this is the main game compared to the other version, which is WTH. So just gonna go back to the title there. Let's give you a quick rundown. There are a few different things that I'm just gonna showcase quickly. As you can see, it has a full dialogue breakdown and everything. And this is pretty much what WTH is part of. So I'm gonna just stop that as well. And then, of course, as I said, this basically is my playtest. So, if I'm actually showing anyone how the game works, I can quickly show them all the different facets of it. Again, the main game is not going to look in this like this. This is just so I can get to certain things quickly, so I can see what's working with some bosses, what's not working with a boss or anything of that nature, and see if that will work or what I need to tweak for certain bosses. And this way, if I need to present something to someone like a client or say maybe a potential investor, I can say, hey, this is what we have right now being developed, and this is what I'm working with. And these are, current active bosses. Again, this particular boss I'm still working on, but that's one of their play mechanics. I can die if I go directly up there, and so forth. So let me jump to the other game, which is called Patrolling W.T.H. and it's right here. Okay, very simple, nothing too crazy. This is actually on the Play Store itself, so I'm just going to jump directly into it. And it has this 3 different modes currently right now. There will be tweaked. Casual is basically for players who are not just want to just have a relaxing gameplay, nothing too crazy. It's a very much slower pace as well. As you can see, the enemies are shooting, but nothing is crazy. You have varying abilities, which is both it's in the main game and also in this, where you can actually slash back weapon fire at you. You have varying attack patterns, and again, the weapon system is just going to be tweaked as well. Stuff like that. So it's way slower, so I'm just gonna get killed. That's okay. If you can now go into one of the 2 harder modes, hard mode, zone 1 or 2, incredibly much different. You will notice, and the gameplay in this is way different in the sense of where you're more on defense than offense. So you're more trying to defend yourself, because shooting will get you killed. Because it's like, and this mode is I actually created this to do more of like a point system versus the standard game. So now it's more about how high of a score can you actually get in the game, and depending on each 1,000 points is a different rank. So right now, since I'm below 1,000, it's only going to give me a private. Once I hit 1,000 and above, and again, as I said, once you pass 1,000, then you go up higher ranks. Of course, you get private now, even though you really didn't do much of anything. And each time you restart, it actually triggers another random event itself. So no 2 phases after your initial death will be the same. It does a randomizer for that. Of course, the enemies are going to be the same depending on what zone you're in. Okay. And, try to give some varying weapon system. because a lot of people were asking for that. So I said, okay, let me just throw in some different kind of, let me test the different kind of weapons I can make. But I just don't want them to be just a standard kind of weapons. I wanted to just try to make it a little bit more creative. And again, I got 767 as my score. So let me go into even more casual gameplay. So this now, let me go back out so you can see. This right here, new level, that was just another testing environment for me, where I brought one of the levels from the main game over to see how that would actually work. So pretty much that's what that is right now. That's one of the main. So I took, I think, a level 2 from the main game. And again, this is supposed to be a little bit more relaxing. A little bit. I'm not going to say it's going to be greatly. So you have 4 different attack things. You have, well, not 4 different attack, 4 different abilities. One is grabbing. So you can grab certain things, objects, rocks, or whichever. You can move things around. And this comes in handy in certain areas where if you want to use certain objects as things as barriers. Because, your shield, your shields is one thing. Your slashing is another. And I'm going to change the sound on that I'm working on right now. But it allows you to deflect back things at enemies. You can also slash enemies too, but it comes at a price. If you go directly at them, you might get damage as well. So see, for example, say you can grab certain things. Your standard shooting, like any other game. And this level is a lot of debris. So there's a lot of things you're gonna see that are debris that are probably ships that were destroyed and stuff like that. And you can use them as things to actually as obstacles. And I'm just talking briefly about the life bars and stuff like that. So at the very top you have your actual life bar. The yellow is your shield and weapons. Your life comes back depending on like these little guys you save. That brings up back your life bar. The other little objects brings up your energy. So it's supposed to be like power cells. And I'm trying to work out something that will work well. Because again, I just don't want to use the typical icons to represent things that replenish your bars. I'm trying to figure out like a system or something, some icons that will actually work. And as you can notice, you see this area has unlimited kind of enemies that show up. But of course, they shoot at you at a very slower pace. So that's pretty much the differences between the two games right now. I am initially, so for this Patrollin W.T.H, I'm believing that I may actually release this on, well, it's on the Play Store, not to the public as yet, but I may put ads in there. I'm still trying to debate if that's the proper way to go about it. But that's what I'm thinking right now. And then the main game will probably incorporate this. If this goes well, I probably will just roll the main game into it as well and just leave it as the ad-based game. And then if you want to remove the ads, you just pay $1 or something like that to remove the ads if you want to. But I'm constantly updating it. I'm constantly adding different things, constantly adding levels and so forth. I'm not going to get too much into the story behind the game itself, because I did that on another video. I'll save it for another time. But this is just to give the short differences between the two games that are going to be released. The W.T.H is going to be released first, just to try to get audience into it, because again, it's free, and we'll see how that will play out and if that's the right approach to, I would say, for the release of the game. Alright, again, if there's anything else, you can always ping me on the video, or depending on where you actually are watching this video from, because I'm dropping this on YouTube, but I'm going to link it through Facebook and everything of that nature. But if you need to actually ping me on any of those platforms, and hopefully I can be able to respond to you and explain to you anything else that might have been missed or so forth. Alright, thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, as people love to say. And catch you in another one. Peace.